part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action. This is Mark Wade, writer of Superman Worldwide. You're listening to the Krypton Report.
Welcome to the Krypton Report. I'm not going to read my huge intro because I'm getting over the flu, and my name is Tyler. I have with me, so I don't have to talk as much, the great Mr. James Cole.
Hey.
And so that James doesn't have to just talk by himself because I'm getting over the flu, I decided to drag our good friend Levi back. Welcome, Levi.
How you guys doing tonight?
Better than I have been.
Yeah, I haven't heard much from Tyler this week. Normally we're talking every day, and
I spent so much
he's
time
been down.
I've spent so much time, usually when I'm sick, I send out the joking, picture of Dean Cain with the,
Kryptonite poisoning. But
this time it was Christopher Reeves with the kryptonite poisoning, sun poisoning from Superman 4, I'm like, yeah, guys, hopefully I make it, fellas. But there's been some news, so let's get into some news and some talking points, and no more about my sickness. Number one, I'm alive. Stargirl has finished season 3 filming, so that's exciting. I think sometimes that's the show we forget because it always kind of premieres at the awkward time. We're not sure when it's going to air because they just started renewing shows, and congratulations. We're getting season 3 of Superman and Lois, fellas. We're getting season 3.
Awesome.
How does that make you?
Very excited to see that news.
Yes. And then we're getting season 9 of The Flash. And that makes me happy because I will say The Flash's quality is coming back. It dipped. COVID didn't help it. COVID kind of ruined The Flash for 2 seasons. But that show still just has a special place in my heart.
And about a season and a half of that I got to catch up on.
Yeah. So, that it's still going to be around, just brings me joy. Anytime I'm watching it and I hear that theme music kick in and it comes on, I'm just it's this comfort for me. So I'm glad it's still there. What about you, Levi? How you feel on The Flash?
I am about 4 or 5 seasons behind, so that one I am a little indifferent on at this point, but I am trying to work my way through the Cicada season. So
Cicada season was not bad, but then they did something in the mid of it, and I was kind of like, why'd you have to go that way? But I like the idea of the Cicada season. But I'm glad it's still there. The next thing is they'd announced a Riddler Year 1 comic. It's going to tie into the Riddler from Matt Reeves' The Batman. Did you guys see that announcement?
Excuse me. Yeah. I'm interested to see that because I assume that because this is the reveal of the Riddler when he kills the mayor, there's stuff that he did in the prequel novel. I've heard snippets about.
Speaking of the prequel novel,
Riddler,
I finally got mine.
Did you?
I haven't read it yet. I was on back order from Amazon. It showed up. So I'm going to try to get that thing this week. Keep going, James.
Nice. So I'm assuming this Riddler Year 1 is from where we leave off in the movie, and for a little while. It'll be nice to see where a person who is, becoming the character on screen pictures where their character is going to go from there.
I think the thing that has me really excited with the Riddler year one is that Paul Dano is writing it himself.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
a talented dude.
That's what I mean. Like he got to portray the Riddler he gets to be, and now he gets to write the next year in comic format.
So, James, you know how I asked you earlier today, like, why is it so cold? And your response was, because we live in Ohio.
Yes.
I think it was yesterday. I was like by myself and I was turning the fireplace on, and just out of no reason, I started doing like the Riddler speech from the Batman, where he's like, "It was so cold. Every winter, one of the babies died. But poor Bruce." And I'm like, why am I just doing this to myself in the house? Like, am I losing my mind from being sick? I'm like, all right.
Right,
So,
that's a little dark, stuck in solitary over there.
I mean, yeah. So speaking of the Batman, let's talk, guys. So, first of all, Matt Reeves did an interview. And I shared that with you, James, where he was talking about that prisoner, the Riddler's friend, being the person who will be the Joker. And he was describing how he wanted to go back with the idea of like, more inspired from Conrad Veidt, The Man Who Laughs, about someone who's being born with a damage so they have a permanent smile. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like what he's saying. Matt Reeves released the scene of like the interrogation talk between Batman and Joker a couple days ago. And I will let Levi go first as our guest on his thoughts. Then James and I will go last.
I mean, I was super excited to see it, and I enjoyed it. Definitely the shades of Mindhunter and a bit of Hannibal Lecter, like Reeves had talked about, hyping it up. Barry Keoghan as the Joker just intrigues me. He's quickly becoming one of my favorite actors, so I was excited to see it.
What did you think about the scene and everything?
I'm glad he cut it. I think it would have really slowed down a very well-paced movie. I'm also glad he didn't hold on for it for too long so we could all see it. But it made sense to me why it was cut, because it was very good, but it wasn't necessary. It would have been kind of just out of place in the movie.
Okay.
I think some people out there would. The only thing they would take away from that if it was in the movie is complaining that the Joker's already been locked up in Arkham Asylum. Like, where's that story?
Yeah,
you'd get that. You'd get those complaints constantly.
I have a theory on that. But James, what are your thoughts on the scene?
So I do enjoy the actor. I was very interested to see more of what there was. The premise of what Joker was supposed to be, basing it off of that character, and with the permanent smile. I mean, taking it back to the inspiration was a really great concept. And then we see the thing, and he's like, it's like his head is scarred all over. He's got tufts of green hair in places all over his head, and then his face, I mean, I don't know if deformed or mangled is the more appropriate term.
He's grotesque. Like,
yeah, grotesque.
He looks worse than the third version of the Joker in Gotham.
Yeah. I think grotesque is the best word for it.
I think their interaction was great. I think there's a couple of bits in there, like I watched it a couple of times, and then I saw somebody post that the Joker takes a paperclip.
Yep.
So I was like, so when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's pretty awesome.
So here's my thought. I thought about what Matt Reeves was talking about everyone's not yet who they are.
Right.
So my working theory right now is that when Batman met this serial killer, he was the Red Hood. And he fell into the chemicals. And if you look, his body looks like a person who fell and got chemically burnt.
Yeah.
And and he's healing. So my thought is a lot of his mangled skin, like his nails, his hair, all this is because he's healing. And we know, like, state law is if someone's in any kind of state hospital, their medical care has to be met. So they're going to take care of him and heal him and everything. So my thought was the last time Batman met this guy, he was just a serial killer and he was the Red Hood and he's healing after falling in the acid. And that when he would then emerge and become the Joker. And he would have a different look. And that's kind of my headcanon about it, because I don't want this grotesque Joker. I mean, we got that look on Gotham. That was one thing I loved about where they were going with Leto, was a very clean looking Joker minus the tattoos, and the grill. We were supposed to get that story, but that's neither here nor there. But, like back to how Nicholson was a kind of clean Joker. I like Eddie being born with like the smile, and that can be done without being this grotesque hatchet face looking thing,
Yeah, I mean he does look like a slasher movie serial killer. Like something you'd see when somebody gets their mask, where the killer gets his mask ripped off.
But that's kind of like my headcanon kind of at the moment, is he's healing from his acid trip.
Yeah.
But his acting and the interaction was spot on. Like, I had heard that he was supposed to be a cameo in it and all this. So like I said before we saw the Batman, I made sure that Jania watched Eternals, because she had wanted to see it already, but I knew that he was in that. That's something that she could watch quite easily with him. And then when we saw it, she was like, "Who was that guy?" I was like, "It's like the guy from Eternals who played Druid." She's like, "Oh, interesting." So she was like, "All right, I'm in." So.
I mean, he is very good. It's always compelling to see a very good actor portray a character, especially a character as iconic as the Joker.
Yeah, I just like that it also kills Brian's theory, which just makes me laugh. So. See? Calvin and Plum laughing about it.
Hey, we're going to press pause and hear a few words from our other podcasts on Press Play Podcast Network.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. Here's how Books with Brooks works. We read one book a month and then we talk about it. Classics like Stephen King's The Shining, debut novels like We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang, and tons of other compelling, life-changing stories, one book and 1 month at a time. So come read along with us and then listen in.
This is Dan Jurgens, and if you want to have a good time, keep listening to the Krypton Report.
But all right, fellas. So, this week's episode of Guess Who Doesn't Live with Lana Anymore, starring Mr. Cortez and Lana Lang. It's our favorite character of Kyle. That's why we watch the show, right, guys?
He's such compelling television.
Oh, yeah, that's why I tune in.
Kyle was a firefighting drunk. That's why I watch Superman and Lois. Right, Jania? Yep. Kyle. Everybody's favorite man. But no, seriously, we don't watch it because Kyle. Alright, so let's take the episode from the start, man. What'd you guys, just overall thoughts on the episode? Levi?
Just overall,
Yeah.
the moments in the episode that were really good were some of the best, I think, in the season. Some of the little nods they did. One sequence there kind of in the middle was great. There was some stuff that really dragged on for me in this episode and had me going, can we get back to the story now, though?
And I want to know what those are here in a minute.
Oh, we'll get to them.
Alright. James, what's your overall thought?
Kind of a decent episode. Not entirely too much happens. Things do happen. But like a good chunk of the episode is Lana and Kyle, and they're just exchanging dialogue, discussing the debate coming up. And obviously it's entwined about their relationship because that's what they're preparing for. I'm interested to see what happens next.
Yeah.
Is what I'll say. It was kind of a nice, it was a good episode, but it was kind of just like bridging from last episode we got to what we're going to have for the rest of the season. Because we've only got probably, 13 episodes? 15 episodes?
I want to say it's 15. I can't remember. I feel like that's what I heard when I listened to that one interview with Todd back before season 2 really started. So,
how many did we get in season 1?
I think it was 15, right?
Okay.
Sounds right.
Well, I liked this episode. There were some beats I was kind of like, ugh. But I thought, not a lot happened action-wise, but I thought there was a lot of good setup and story and building the characters. So do you guys want to take it character, or you want to take it by, beat? Because I think it'd be easier to just go by characters.
That works for me.
So we'll start off with...
Might as well start off with Lana and Kyle, since I kind of spoiled what they were going on.
They're the most attached.
Get them out of the way.
Yeah, what they have going on.
And they're also the most attached from everything else. So
yeah,
that helps a lot too. So Kyle shows up, and we find out that he's not living at the firehouse. He got himself a little sublet apartment. Hopefully it's not over top of the bar where the girl he cheated on with. That would suck. That would not be wise. Because why would you bring someone around your relationship to hang out with the person that you like, that you cheated on with? That doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
I hope that would be too obvious for drama. I hope that they don't go that way.
Yeah, hey, be friends with the person I cheated on you with, but whatever. Well, yeah, that's not like that's going to come up somewhere. But, and Lana's preparing her. Kyle's there to get the girls, but I only saw one. And he's going to take them to breakfast, and he sees Lana preparing for her debate. So Kyle tries to help coach Lana in questions that would come up for the debate. And I think he does a good job. He asks some questions, and one question being that he asks her is, how are you going to keep scandal out of Smallville? You can't keep scandal out of your house. And she kind of, breaks character, so to speak. And she says, it wasn't me who brought scandal into my home. And I think she says it was you. Did she say it was you? Or did she say it was my husband? I can't remember.
I think she was still kind of addressing as the audience for the debate, but And then eventually she did go around to pointing it directly at him. But I think she started from the debate standpoint and then directed it towards him in the end.
You know, but Kyle makes the point of that's something that's going to come up because the moderator's the mayor's hunting buddy. So
I think the episode or the scenes that they had together were pretty good. I think they handled it both very well. She said that she wanted him to help because he's been there all along, and they have a good rapport with the campaign. They do have that interaction where she kind of blows up on him, but he accepts it because that's what she needed to do to kind of get past it and work on what she needed to work on, all the questions that they had. So yeah, it was a very well written interaction.
Levi, your thoughts? You're a big Kyle fan.
I mean, I can't say the scenes weren't well written. I've got to agree with that. They were well done. To me, in an episode that was already a little slower paced, those ones in particular just felt like they dragged the pace down even more when there potentially was bigger fish to fry in the episode.
I can agree with that. I can highly agree with that.
Yeah, we do get a few big things in this episode from different characters.
It was, I mean, if you think about it, like they're not in it that much. So I'm almost kind of curious what the next episode would be if those could have been scenes in the next episode.
Yeah,
like a way of combining.
Well, like I said, hopefully this is a good episode an episode that bridges that. We get a lot of information for a lot of different people, and then it was a very good setup in this episode for things that are to come.
True.
So, I mean, for a show that's done really well and not had too much filler when it comes to the story and the pacing of that, I think, it and we'll see what happens next week, but I think it did well. I think it did what it's supposed to do mid-season here.
I also think having the break that we had, and then getting this episode kind of killed momentum. Yeah. I think if we would have gotten the last episode, then watched this directly after it, I think would have helped with that kind of feeling.
Well, it certainly would have left you on a wow, I kind of really want to come back. I want the next episode. Very intrigued for when it does come back.
Right. So the next grouping will be that John Henry returns, and he's coming home from the hospital. And at the beginning, we see that he's being released. And he's doing well from his injuries, but he's having a little bit of memory issue. And we get some flashbacks here, which I thought was interesting, that they tied more tightly back, that we actually see the antimatter wave coming while the wormhole is open. So John Henry and then Nat goes through the wormhole right as the antimatter wave of crisis crosses it. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
The flashback scenes had me excited. I took notes on this one because I knew you were sick, so I wanted to be able to talk a little more. And I actually have written down, nice for them to finally acknowledge crisis happened on the show.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that was speculation we had as to how he got to this Earth to begin with. We had speculated that that crisis happened about the same time that he went through.
And the fact that his John Henry of the Earth had already have been something that had to have happened to him because two people from different Earths couldn't occupy the same Earth. But poor John Henry is having, like, what would you get, memory confusion? Because when he sees Lois, he forgets that's not his Lois. But then he's like, I remember now. Like, so, he's dealing with that. And then Clark, Natalie still has issues with Clark. And he was supposed to come pick John Henry and Nat up from the hospital, but of course he was being Superman. And we have a second scene with them where Nat goes off on Clark, and then John Henry and Clark talk about, she needs to learn that he's a different person and everything and spend time with her. And,
which is why the flashback scenes were so important in this episode.
Yes.
To have Nat start to come to terms with, Lois being around who's not her mom, and Clark and Superman being around who's not the one who killed her mother.
And then the final kind of scene is Clark gets a place for John and Nat to rent and live off the farm somewhere, and we see them go to it. And it's like a machine shop. It's like a garage with
an attached apartment.
Yeah, and it's a little run down and needs some fixing up, but with their skills, I think it's perfect for them. It's going to give them
I was going to say, with their engineering skills, yeah.
My first thought when I saw it was it's like their bunker that they would always show where he was building his
right. Right. And they're going to build him a new suit. And it was nice to have him back. I like the buddiness of John and Clark. And that going on. So I liked having that element. And I'm glad he's back. I hope that the memory thing is just like for this episode, because I feel like we've already mined that emotion. Let's not drag it out anymore.
Yeah. I'm definitely here for the Clark and John Henry buddy scenes, though. That scene with them discussing Clark's doubts that he could ever have a relationship with Nat, I thought was really... I like seeing Clark struggle as opposed to seeing Superman struggle, so that was a really good scene. At least for me.
I agree.
Well, in this episode, we get more Clark than we get Superman.
Excuse me. I'm okay with that. Because I like both characterizations. I think you need to see both sides and the way he's living and dealing with things.
Life is both of them.
I'm still waiting for, I don't know about you guys, but I wanted to ask you this, if you're both still waiting for Clark to confront Kyle, man to man, and punch him for cheating on his best friend. Just throwing that out there.
I do think like an interaction with them is inevitable, but certainly not punch him. But I think you would feel the Superman level of disappointment directed at him. You know how he does.
Yeah.
I can see it happening at the debate. That's my prediction.
Hey, I can dream, okay? He just walked up to Kyle and goes, whew, and Kyle just flies back. But all right, so the next grouping, I guess, would be kind of building up. I guess would be
probably the boys before we get to Superman, Lois, and Allie, and the rest of the family.
the fraternals.
Fraternals, yes.
Can I just say, like, I know John's being very, John is being very protective of Candace. And, like, one thing I told Jania is, first of all, I really want to know why they changed his girlfriend between seasons and didn't just let the drug-dealing girlfriend be the one whose father's the criminal in Central City. You know, like, why do we have to change to this new character that they're forcing on us? But if things were flipped, I don't think Candace would be trying to protect John. I think she'd rat him out to save her skin.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so John's taking all this heat, not giving up. He's going to complete school online. Smallville's football program was shut down for the rest of the season, forfeiting every game, and then they had to re-forfeit their wins. And John getting a job, which I found interesting. Why not just put him to work outside in the fields of the farm?
That was my thought, because I remember them saying, I think in season 1, that Clark was taking over the farm.
Right. I mean, I know Clark can do everything in an hour.
Farm.
I mean, I know he could be back there, like, Clark can do everything by himself, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I know it's fall, so there's not as much, but there's still chores that can be done on a farm that John should be doing instead of working at a grocery store. Like a little convenience shop, you know?
I'm sure they could find something redundant for him to do on the farm. You know, go stack this wood over there. Now go stack it over here.
Oh, dude, I would so make my kid do that.
Right.
As punishment chores, straight up. They're like, you know what? Now that you spend half your day stacking the wood pile on the right side of the house, I really think I liked it better on the left. Get to it. Excuse me. They even, so Jordan is at school and hears some towny hillbilly dude hustling Kansas.
They are in Kansas.
I'm done. Peace, guys.
Yeah, so the drug dealer who sold the XK inhalers to Candace is harassing her for the money that she owes him for the ones that got confiscated. She obviously didn't get to sell them. And it's a lot of money. And he's threatening her, and Jordan kind of steps in between, and then he goes away. And then when John gets off of work, he is walking Candace home, and they get pulled upon by said drug dealer on the street, and he starts and he takes XK, and he attacks John, and he goes to take Candace away, force her into his car. This is when Jordan is going to meet Sarah and her friend, what's her name, Andrea?
Yep. Sarah's friend, who she cheated on Jordan with, who she wants Jordan to meet and be friends with and be okay with, who is the one person she felt she could rely on about her dad cheating on her mom, who would understand about parents broken up. It's a little convoluted, and I'm like, okay. And I like Jordan's reasoning for agreeing to it. He's like, I got distracted trying to protect your girlfriend. He was like, yeah. I agreed to it.
And he hears them. He hears them being attacked, and he runs in to save the day. Which is actually pretty cool, you know. You got superpowered person versus this XK person. This guy on XK.
Dude, Superboy begins.
Yep.
I cheered. When he uppercut him onto his car.
Yeah, I'm glad he didn't throw him 30 feet. At least he uppercut him and sent him flying 30 feet.
When he heard John yelling Jordan, he took off. Like, I was like excited. And like the way he like had the hood up and head down, you know, and then the way he ran away at the end gave me some Smallville vibes. I was like, I looked at Jinian and I was like, man, I love him. You know, Superman runs away like that. Maybe because I spent 10 seasons in Smallville.
Watching him go.
I also loved, like you said, with the hood up and all that, it gave me Superman Earth 1 vibes. The cover of that.
Yes.
That's what I thought. I was like, that is like just such a cool modern Superman look right there from a recent comic.
Yes, I loved it. And what I found interesting though is when Jordan gets back and he's going to go meet Sarah, like his knuckles are a little bloody. And he's got a little, you know, cut and scrape on him from fighting another superpowered person. And he ends up just going home and then John sees him. I was like, what was I going to say? How do I explain this to her? And then he calls him out and says, why didn't you tell me it was Candace? You know, he's like, that you're trying to protect. Like, you don't think I'd understand or something? He's like, why didn't you just tell me?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned that he didn't figure it out on his own. Because how many people in that town would his brother be trying to protect over drugs? So
I'm surprised that Pulitzer Prize winning journalist Clark and Lois didn't figure it out immediately.
yeah, that's the one part of this drug storyline that's starting to like. You guys aren't really trying that hard to figure that out, are you?
That and the fact that they, you know, last episode they ripped him about drugs and XK and all this, but they don't even bring up like you're half Kryptonian. Like this could have had no effect on you. This could have had major effect on you more than anybody else. Like the effects that this inhalers could have done to him could have been radically different than anyone else. You know, they don't even really bring that up into the discussion.
No, they haven't. That's been annoying.
The other thing is, one thing I did appreciate is when Jonathan asks Candace how much she owes the guy, and she says, more than we got. Because I like when they talk in roundabouts and not in exact numbers in shows and stuff where they have to put prices on things. I don't know, I just always like that better than trying to put a finite price. Because sometimes it doesn't always age as well. Because, I mean, honestly, guys, you know, I'm not into, you know, street drugs or whatever. But if someone was selling inhalers that gave you powers like Superman, I'm pretty sure that whatever one inhaler dose would go for would be a lot of money.
Yeah, I don't see the people around Smallville actually being able to afford that.
The high school kids around Smallville.
Yeah.
Like you would have to sell it, like you'd have to start like diluting it down to like, okay, this is only worth an hour and it's like $600 or $1,000, you know?
Yeah, how do you put a price on superpowers?
Exactly.
Even temporary superpowers.
Exactly. In a world where everybody wants to be Superman. Like, so anyways, that's my one thing about the whole drug thing is how it's like, yeah, man, this guy just got some more inhalers. Where are these kids getting this money in this town that was drying up that Morgan Edge had to save them last season? We're not hearing about, you know, any crime sprees. Like, for sure.
You know that mining operation is still banking big bucks.
So, yeah, it's all shut down. So
exactly.
So there's the boys in this episode. Can we also say that when the Clark and Lois needed to communicate with the boys, they Rochambeau'd it?
And apparently Clark always loses.
Apparently. I mean, that's how it is. You always lose to your wife. Right, Enia? Yep, she's shaking her head. It's true. I lose. So now that brings us to Clark, Lois, Lucy, Anderson, Allie, Chrissy, and Sam. I was like, I know there was somebody else forgetting.
Everyone else.
So Chrissy, my favorite, not favorite person on the show, returns. And we find that Allie is calling together some of her members, and there's Anderson, and they're going to go to the mines and basically ascend. Okay, awesome. They're going to cross over, and basically they pick up Chrissy and they make her put on a hazmat suit, and those helmets look pretty sweet, not gonna lie. And they go, and we see that there's other members already in there with their suits on, so we don't know who they are. And while in the mine, people are starting to get sucked up, and they're like getting crushed and screaming and pulled through. And when Chrissy starts to get pulled through, she screams, and Clark shows up, saves her, saves Allie. So other people are getting sucked in, and then we see Anderson takes the medallion and goes through. And that's the big moment of that scene. We don't know if Lucy made it, because earlier Lucy sent a cryptic text, basically sounding like she's saying goodbye to Lois and Sam. And I'll let you guys take it from here. Yeah.
The super save was pretty awesome.
Yes.
Being able to save a few people from from being crushed by the I don't know, Event Horizon, by the portal.
The save itself was cool. I think the thing that stuck out to me the most was that music they had for it was very Zimmer-esque.
It kind of reminded me of Superman trying to pull away from the Phantom Zone, the Black Zero getting sucked back into the Phantom Zone.
Exactly, the same thought I had, yeah. It was an interesting build-up to that, though. The hazmat suits, Chrissy, like everyone slowly walking towards their impending death, it seems like. Willingly.
And then, jumping ahead, Allie says, later that she wants to cross over still. But how? Because
we were told by Anderson, because he came back from the other world, like he went under just like Allie did. This time probably more voluntarily, but he went under, and he said that Allie from that world said, "Come here now."
Yeah. And the interesting thing is you have to have the pendant to physically cross over. And now both sides of that are on the other side.
Is it both, or did he just take the pendant that he got from Bizarro? Does Allie still have her pendant?
I thought she had both of them, because she was bringing both of them over.
I mean, I would assume she had both of them, but I think he
I'll have to go
took
back
the
and watch
one.
it. Well, he had one, and she had hers, but I thought she had them together. Somehow, I don't know. I'll have to watch it again.
I don't know. I mean, I think that he gave her that. Didn't he? Showed her I don't know. Maybe he handed it over. Maybe he didn't.
I need to watch it again.
Well, I don't think they ever showed him hand it over. Like he goes to her because Superman's interested in her, saying she's bad, and then he shows her that he has the medallion from the amulet from the Bizarro world, and then we start this episode up, and he's waking up from the other world. So I think they cut right over. They cut right over that. I mean, that's all we can assume, I guess.
That's the one thing with the storyline this year. It's very unclear how any of the actual stuff is going to work, and I'm sure it'll be revealed, but it makes the scenes like this, the cave rescue and the aftermath, it makes them a little confusing to understand what actually happened.
Right, because, I mean, so far all we've got, when the only characters we've had who's come into contact with their other self is Superman. And they talked about how them being in proximity of one another was powering them up, or powering Superman up. So, I mean, that's really the only hint we got as to the amulet or anything else. Because we've just seen it. We've seen it with her. We saw it with Bizarro. We saw that Bizarro took it from her on the other Earth and came over to this Earth. That's about it.
I'm intrigued about where this is going. So, what do you guys think of the Lucy part to this episode? Levi, you go first.
I will read you exactly what I had written down for this. I said the Lucy storyline is meh, and then as I was typing that, the twist ending happened, and I literally in all caps wrote down until the end. So, the whole thing, the Lucy storyline this season I thought started out really good and really interesting, and then like what happened in this one was kind of boring until she reveals the twist at the end where she drugged her dad.
I knew it.
To steal his DOD badge, I think, she's probably going to try and break Ellie out. Because I'm sure she can just walk into a Department of Defense facility and open the cell and take her out,
As soon as they showed him with that cup, I was like, you poor man. This is why I only drink things from cans and bottles. Okay? I'm picky. I don't trust even my wife. She makes me tea. She might be trying to slip something in there. She might be trying to take me down.
Trying.
I don't know, James. If suddenly you don't hear from me for a while, check my coffee cup.
Check your coffee cup? I think if it's been a while, she might have gotten rid of the evidence.
Yeah, probably. But, yeah, I was like, oh, man.
It's like, if I die under suspicious circumstances, don't trust anyone. Not Jania.
Yeah.
Not even Jania. Especially not Jania.
Exactly. But, yeah, that was... I do think it's interesting that you want people to see the truth or what all accept this, but the only way you can get it is to force them by tricking them and drugging them into it, not letting them willingly be a participant. That just seems wrong for your truth-selling side. Hey, I want you to feel this. Make it happen.
I know it's on the CW, so they've kind of had to beat around the bush with it, but like I would love to have seen them like flesh out the cult aspect of this way more.
I agree. Because this actress and the way they're doing it, like, she is creepy. There's a creepiness to her, like, even for, like, just cult leaders in general. Like, side tangent. I was rewatching some episodes of Boy Meets World the past 2 days, and, like, one of my favorite episodes is when Sean tries to join the Center, which is basically like a cult. And just the guy, who's the leader. And yeah, that's a comical version, but even then, like, that type of mindset of a person. Did you watch Boy Meets World, Levi?
I know exactly which episode you're talking about, so. Second
tangent. So I decided to watch some key episodes from Girl Meets World. Like, I was like, because I had seen like 1 or 2 episodes before. I was like, man, I'm going to watch the ones where like the previous characters really pop up. And I was like, man, I always love Mr. Turner. So I watched the first episode with Mr. Turner in Girl Meets World, and it mirrors the first episode of Mr. Turner in Boy Meets World. But what's neat is the teacher that they bring in to teach English is teaching the students The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, I remember watching that. Yeah,
I was like, okay, that's dope.
Yeah, it sounds like an interesting episode.
It was. It was. And it was just cool to see Mr. Turner back to you. But all right, back to this episode. The whole cult leader thing, I think, yeah. Did you guys ever remember the show that came out called Cult that was on the CW?
I don't remember that one.
It only did
I remember
one
the following.
The following was, dude, the following season 1 was great. Season 2 I dropped off. It got too crazy.
Yep.
Cult was like a TV, I'm trying to remember it. It had a bunch of quote unquote CW players, like people that you'll look them up like, oh yeah, I seen you. And I can't remember if it was before or right after the Vampire Diaries, because I had one of the people from that show. But it was like about a TV series about a cult, but it was like tied into like a real cult. It was an interesting idea. It only lasted one season. The main dude who was like the cult leader or whatever was the one that played the Clock King on Arrow. So it was interesting. But,
well, that guy is a good actor.
Yeah, he is a good creeper.
Yeah. I think he could play that. I think he could pull that role off pretty well.
But any other final thoughts for this episode, Into Oblivion?
The only other thing I'd touch on, the scenes with Lois and Clark. These two have to be kind of the best pairing I've seen of the characters in a long time. And every time they just have a scene with the two of them, it's one of my favorite scenes in the episode. And they had a couple in this one, so that was always nice.
I agree. First of all, I'm going to go on a tangent here. I hate the Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder, Lois and Clark dynamic. People say that's their favorite Lois. That's their favorite Lois and Clark. No, not mine, because they never had a really good relationship. She loved Superman, and then kind of like Clark, and then, you know, there's that whole muckiness of him giving up his powers, blah, 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 blah. No, she was never really good to Clark. They never had a chance to cultivate a relationship. Okay? I hate Kate Bosworth as Lois. That's on record. You know, and then we've had some other, you know, couples that have had a chance to try to cultivate and show a really good relationship. But these two nail it. I mean, they have it that says that they are this couple, and they've had history together. And I love it. Like, it's the best part of just really helping ground the series.
Yeah, I just buy it when they're on screen together that like this is who Superman fell in love with, and she fell in love with Clark and not Superman, and it's just such a nice change. And like the scene where he's comforting her on the couch is just so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the episode last season, I'm sure it's on record when we were talking about it last season, the flashback episode where Tal was in his mind and we got to see the past and the history, and the way that those two got together is one of the best episodes of the season. They have an amazing relationship in this series, and you know, I liked the scene where they're on the couch at the end of the episode when Jonathan comes home and where have you been? I promised to walk Candace home, and Clark's is very stern. Store the house. Anything else you need our permission. And then Lois has, you know, her, like, that's fine, but, you know, there's a limit to how long it can go on. Very nice scene, very good discussion between them. They're so good together. I don't know if I would say she's my favorite Lois Lane. She's not my favorite Lois Lane, but them two together are fantastic.
She's in the top 3. Without sitting down and having to like etch it, in stone here. She's in the top 3. I'll just say that.
Yeah, she's doing great. I don't dislike her in any way. I want to, make that clear that that's not the case. I don't dislike her in any way. Like I said, it was a good episode. It was a little slower, but there was kind of a lot of setup coming back from the break that we had. We had Bizarro before, and now what's the ultimate end game for the rest of the season? And that's what I'm excited to see happen. We got that twist at the end where Lucy said she was the failsafe. There's more plans in the works, and I want to see them.
All right, fellas. Any other final thoughts, Levi?
No, nothing else from me.
All right. Oh, hey. Thanks for being here, Levi. Go ahead and let people know where they can catch you online, drop your thoughts, your opinions. You're always fun to chat with on Twitter. And, oh yeah, wait, hold on. We didn't have our quick conversation. Levi has an addiction similar to mine.
Which one? I have many.
So, Levi's been indulging in buying McFarlane figures. More? What's some new ones that you got, Levi?
I actually, the two newest ones I got are the Batman and Superman from The Dark Knight Returns. So.
Nice.
I guess you could also tack on the Pattinson, Batman, and Riddler as well, but those are a few weeks older. It has become quite a problem, and my wife is unhappy, so...
Jania has not crossed that threshold yet. But within the past month, I bought The Flash from Zack Snyder's Justice League. I got, I got the black suit variant animated Superman, The Dark Knight Returns Superman. Solomon got the Red Hood from Gotham Knights. I feel like I'm missing one.
I knew you were going to ask, so I went through and since we're just talking Superman on here, I went through and figured out which Superman McFarlanes I have. I have both of the animated Supermans. I have the Action Comics 1000, both of the Cavill variants, both of the Superman Unchained, Death Metal, Rebirth, Dark Knight Returns, and I have the Solar Suit Superman on pre-order. So
I have on pre-order the Solar Suit. Is that the one you're talking about with the beard? Superman Lois one? Yeah. Can't wait for that one. I have the Superman fighting the Batman where he's like Doomsday.
The Devastator one, yeah.
Yep, I have that one. Oh, I bought Steppenwolf. That's the other one I bought recently. I bought the Justice League Steppenwolf.
I've been sadly, and it is sad, I've been very good at not buying all the McFarlane figures. But I want them.
I just pre-ordered the John Kent Superboy.
Yeah, I'm going to be better going forward, but my intention when they first started coming out was I'll get any Superman one, and then I'll get the Zack Snyder ones. And that quickly has not been the case. So
I do really want to finish my Zack Snyder's Justice League collection, though.
Yeah,
I do have the gold edition armored Darkseid and the yellow or the blue suit exclusive Superman, the Target exclusive Superman.
I
haven't gotten the black suit yet.
I need Batman and Cyborg, and then I guess technically I would need Wonder Woman from Wonder Woman 1984. since they didn't make a Zack Snyder Justice League Wonder Woman figure. So it's just that.
That's the one I have for my Wonder Woman in it. But I think the only Zack Snyder one I am missing is the unmasked Batman one. So I've got both Darkseids, Steppenwolf, Aquaman. I've got both Flashes now that both of them are out.
You win.
My wife, I'm sitting next to a tote in my office where I have them next to me. So
I also I bought plastic, and I bought a binder, and I started keeping all the cards in plastic like I did when I was a child with my trading card collection.
Nice.
I have been considering doing that as well.
I didn't know what to do with them, and I was just like, why not just get plastic and have them display and flip through? And my kids think it's the coolest thing ever. Like, oh, we can look through all that. I'm like, yep.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
So now we've talked McFarlane Toys because we are men in our 30s playing with action figures. And you know what? It's cool.
Just trying to recreate our youth.
Right.
Now we can end the episode. Good night, everybody.
Good morning, good night.
All right, so where can people talk with you online, Levi?
You can find me on Twitter at Round Superman.
James, where can people find you? And we're out of time. Goodbye.
Well, see ya.
Where is Chris?
But yeah, James, where can people chat with you?
Where's Chris one?
I'm on Twitter at SupermanRed_KR.
And you can find me just at Krypton Report. So remember, everybody, check out our Patreon. We are getting ready to do. I put an announcement up. We're going to do some cool new stuff with Patreon. We want to give 5 episodes a month of different styles. So check it out. $1 a month for Patreon. We have a cool commentary coming up soon. And remember,
an awesome commentary, a new show that'll be interesting to talk about, one of our random discussion episodes.
Yes. And that's what's going to be fun about the Patreon.
Remember to check out Krypton Report on all social media platforms. Go to linktree.com/Krypton Report. You find all of our information right there. And if you want to keep Krypton from exploding, join our $1 a month Patreon. That's right. For $1 a month, you'll get extra special content that you don't get on the main show, like movie commentaries and whatever else comes out of our podcasts. So check it out, patreon.com/Krypton Report. But also, if you love Superman and DC Comics, please listen to the following: The Last Sons of Krypton, Superman the Animated Podcast, Holy Batcast, The Geek of Steel, Digging for Kryptonite, The Aspiring Kryptonian, The All-Star Superfan Podcast, and Superboy the Legacy Podcast. Enjoy.